Hi, my name is Sean Beasley, and today I want to walk you through installing OTRS on openSUSE. Here I have an openSUSE 11.4. So let's get started. The first thing we need to do is we need to go and find out how to download OTRS. So let's go to the OTRS web page, and then we'll go to Get OTRS. Then we'll download OTRS Help Desk. And we have to look for openSUSE and SLES. We're going to take openSUSE for openSUSE 11.x RPM. We're going to go ahead and download this and save the file. So now that we've got the file downloaded, we can actually start installing the software. Here I'm going to go to my terminal. I'm going to sign up as root. And now that I'm in my terminal, I'm going to change to my download folder. And there I see I have the package, the RPM. Now what we need to do is we need to ensure that our system downloads all the proper packages that are needed for the dependencies for OTRS. So we're going to use the program zypper to install this RPM. And if you need more help with zypper, you can use zip-h in order to get all the commands. For example, we need to do a local install, so we need to look and see how we're going to do this install locally. We're just going to do here zypper install and then this package name, and it should go ahead and solve all of the dependencies by itself. So it's going to retrieve the repository information, which is going to take some time depending on how recently you've actually done an installation. Here I have a fresh installation, so I don't have anything. I don't have a web server, I don't have a MySQL or an SQL database. All I have is a pure desktop system. So you don't actually need to have a SLES server in order to install OTRS. You can run it on any desktop version of Linux or Windows as well. So here it says that I have the new packages, which are the dependencies, all the libs, all of the Perl libs, and the Apache, of course, with mod Perl. And it appears there's already a MySQL database installed in the default installation because it's not a part of the list. So I'm going to go ahead and click yes, and it's going to start installing the required modules. Now you're seeing it's installing OTRS itself. And then you see the next steps listed in the console output. So the next thing we need to do is execute SUSE config to configure the web server. Then we need to run the rc Apache 2 restart in order to, and write rc MySQL start, just in case they're not already running. We can check, see, with rc service name status. Then we can go to run the installer PL. Once we've done the installer PL, then we can start the OTRS services by running rc OTRS start force, which loads the cron jobs which are needed for automation within the system. So we're going to run SUSE config. Now we're going to do rc Apache 2 restart and rc Apache up MySQL start. So scroll back up and see what the next step is. The last step is going to the browser and running the installer PL. Here in openSUSE, I can go ahead and open the link here, right out of the terminal. And when I'm done, I'll run rc OTRS start force. Here you can see the licensing agreement. Just basically a representation of the licensing that's being used within OTRS, the AGPL version 3. Since I've not configured a root password on this system, I wouldn't recommend doing that this way. I would recommend setting a root password, but just for demonstration purposes, we're going to go ahead and check the database settings. Database check was successful. Okay, and here the standard password, as it says, is hot. I would change this. We're going to leave it hot for right now. We don't need a password for root because we've seen that root doesn't have a password on this system, and we're going to make sure here that we've selected create and then click next. Firefox is going to ask me to remember a password. We're going to tell him no. Now we see that the database settings are done. We're going to go ahead and click next again. Now you have the chance to change your system ID. I would go ahead and change that to some crazy number because it may be that you want to set up a new system at some point. You want them to be able to communicate with one another, or you may need to communicate with another existing system from another company. And if you don't set this to some other number than 10, then generally a lot of other users haven't done that as well, and you're going to run into problems with the ticket numbers. Here you would put your FQDN, your admin email, your organization, and you would choose either to log to a file or to syslog. I would choose file. I would put this into opt OTRS var log OTRS log. So choose your system language and whether or not you want to check for MX record. I'm going to set mine to no because I'm running a local installation. Now you have a chance to configure a mailbox if you want to at this point. You can configure your first of hopefully many mailboxes that you're going to be using with OTRS. I'm going to go ahead and skip this step because I don't have a test mailbox that I want to configure. And now you will be able to log in using this start page and root at localhost and root as your default password. So the first thing you're going to be confronted with in OTRS is your login. And the first thing you want to do is make sure that you change your password for root at localhost, if not even also changing the name of the admin user from root at localhost. This would help prevent your system from being compromised if somebody were able to get into your network. So I like to change my login to sysadmin, for example, and I'm going to change my password to another password, and then just go down here and update my settings. Oh, this is the first thing that's going to happen. You need to have actually have a valid email address here. So I'm just going to put in a test email address. Now you see the sysadmin has changed, or the rooted localhost user has changed to sysadmin. And you can even set this user to invalid because this user is important not for logging in, but it's important for other system functions. So you never want to delete this user, for example, but you can do pretty much everything, including setting them to invalid. So now we set up a a new user that doesn't have that has admin rights but doesn't have system user rights like the rooted localhost or now the sysadmin account does. So now we've got an address that we can use. Now we need to give this person full permissions on everything. This will be your default admin account. And we'll log out, log back in with our new account. And we see that this warning has gone away because we don't have any danger of doing anything bad to the system using the root user. The final step to our configuration is to go back into our terminal. And then we will run rc OTRS force start. Then, if he doesn't like force start, we'll use start force. This will restore all of the necessary services for OTRS and ensure that the Apache, the MySQL daemon, and the cron scripts are running as planned. If you want to check into this cron script settings, okay, so the settings that are responsible for the automation, then you can sign up as the user OTRS using the su-OTRS command -s bin bash and then minus on the end. And now you'll be signed up as the OTRS user. You can look at the crontab settings, see what's set up to run. And all of these settings are listed, so if I change to my opt-OTRS directory, change to var, cron, all of the settings that I need here for picking up email and doing things like distributing pending jobs are found here. So if I want my email to be picked up more than every 10 minutes, then I have to open up this cron job, for example, and I need to reset the settings here from 10 to, for example, 5. Then when we can stay signed in as OTRS, and then all I have to do is do cron sh restart as OTRS user or restart the services as the root user. And that's as easy as it comes to setting up OTRS. So I hope you enjoyed the video and you'll have fun setting up OTRS on your own. Thank you.